G'day and welcome to Disc Golf Down Under. It's Matt here, and well, in Sydney lately the weather's been pretty lousy and it's really not great weather for playing disc golf. So what do you do when you're stuck at home and you can't get out and play? Well, grab your mobile phone and jump on and play disc golf on your phone, of course. So this week I'm looking at an app, a mobile app that is available on Apple and Android, as well as Windows and Mac devices. So you may have heard of it. It's called Disc Golf Valley. Let's jump in and check it out. Okay, so many of you may have already heard of Disc Golf Valley, or perhaps you're like me. I installed it about 18 months ago, shortly after it first came out. But at the time, I quickly became bored with it due to the lack of variety and courses. But with the recent holidays, I decided to reinstall it and have another look. And well, I'm seriously impressed with the way the game has improved and changed over the last 18 months. As I mentioned earlier, the app is available on both Apple and Android devices and works equally well on both phones and tablets. On Google Play, it's had over 100,000 downloads with an average rating of 4.2 stars. And on the Apple App Store, it's also got an average rating of 4.2 stars and probably a similar number of downloads too. The app is completely free and you don't have to pay a cent to get the most out of the game. And surprisingly, the app was developed by a single person in Sweden called Per Wahlstedt, whose programming is not his normal job. He's been working on the app in his spare time for the past 4 years. And currently in the app stores, the developer is now listed as Latitude 64, and they've apparently hired Per full-time to work on the app, and as you'd expect, the game now includes Latitude 64 discs and course branding throughout the app. Now, I also mentioned that you can play Disc Golf Valley on Mac and Windows PCs, and you can do this through an Android emulator such as BlueStacks or Nox, or one of the other Android emulators that are out there. You just need to install the emulator, log into your Google Play account, and then download and install as you normally would from the Play Store. However, this is a mobile app designed for phones and tablets, and I actually find it easy to play on the tablet or phone, especially the putting mechanic, which you'll see what I mean by that later on. I played the game on iPhone and Android, both phone and tablet. And for this review today, I'm actually running on the Android version on a Windows 10 computer using the BlueStacks emulator. As of January 2021, the current version on all platforms is version 2.6, and that's what you'll see running in the review today. The app has been getting regular updates since April last year. So let's jump in now, and when you start the game, you can opt to practice offline if you want, and you can practice your putting or your target practice, or you can sign in with either your Apple or your Google account. And when you do this, you can play across multiple devices and take your profile with you. So this includes things like your disc collection, your statistics, your coins, and your XP. Now, before we dive into the game, we can change the app settings to our liking. So you can select your player icon and you can select your nation. Now, unfortunately, there's no Australian badge, so I've picked New Zealand for this one. You can also change your graphics settings and what your default tee shot is. You can also change whether you want to use units as meters or feet. If you're a left-handed player, you can also play in lefty mode so that it changes the direction of the throws. You can also turn on and off the hole previews, and you can also disable the music, and I've turned the music off because it does get a little bit grating after a while. Now, when you first start out in the game, you'll only have a putter, which is a Latitude 64 dagger, and you'll also get a mid-range, a Latitude 64 compass. And these are good starter discs to learn the game, but you'll want to expand your collection, and you can do this by playing through the various game modes. Initially, you'll have 6 different slots in your bag, and you can purchase additional slots and expand this up to a total of 12 discs. So while looking at your collection, you can select on your discs, you can look at their appearance, you can click on the magnifying glass there to go into look at the flight path, and you can also do a test drive. And discs here, you can just pull straight back and let it go, and it will follow its normal flight path. So this disc has a little bit of instability and then stables up at the end. We can also throw, so these are backhand throws, we can also throw it with a bit of anhyzer to get a bit more flex out of the disc and a bit more distance. We can also throw with a hyzer, so if you want to go around those left-hand corners. We can also throw forehand, so a nice hyzer forehand there. And finally, we can also throw a roller as well, so you can actually get some quite long throws by using the roller method. So in your collection, you'll see your bag at the top half of the screen, and then also you've got the rest of your collection down the bottom. So you can switch discs in and out as you like, and you can also sell your discs for 25 coins as well. So as I mentioned earlier, the game is completely free to play, and there's no annoying ads that normally spoil most free-to-play apps these days. However, if you do want to support the developer and build your disc collection a little bit faster, there is the option to spend real money. So you can go into the Pro Shop, and there's the disc shop where each day you'll have the option for 3 different discs. You can go into the cash shop and purchase the tournament pack, which is $9.50 on Android or $10 on Apple. And that gives you an icon frame, 3 unique discs, and an extra bag slot. Or you can go into the Team Series area, and there's 4 different collections in here. These are $7.50 Aussie on Android or $8 on Apple. And part of the proceeds from your purchase actually goes to these players. So there's some nice, smart, sparkly glimmer discs in here that you can purchase, and this can help fill in your bag as well. So if you don't want to spend any money, you just need to play the game, and as you progress, you'll be given discs as a reward which you can add to your bag. Or if you don't need them, you can sell them, as I mentioned earlier, to get coins, which you can spend on other discs. You also receive XP and coins for winning the events in-game, and these coins can be used to buy discs or extra bag slots. As your XP increases also, the disc speeds in the daily shop will also increase. And every 24 hours, the disc for sale will change. And as you level up, more discs will be available in the store each day. At present, there's a total of 3 putters, 3 mid-rangers, 6 fairway drivers, and 4 distance drivers, all Latitude branded. The discs have the same flight characteristics as their real-life counterparts. And if you want to test out a disc before adding it to your bag, you can take it to the test range and give it a throw to see how it flies. Next, let's look at the game modes. And here we have the option of playing alone in single player or with others online. So the best place for a beginner to start is with Challenge the Valley. And here you can learn to play the courses and start to build up your disc collection. So at present there's 13 courses, each with 9 holes. And you'll start with the first course, Unlocked Sunshine Glade. And you'll need to collect stars to unlock the other courses. So each course has a set targets for 1, 2 or 3 stars, and each time you get a star you'll also receive a disc in your collection. So the more stars you collect, the more discs you'll receive, and basically if you want to play well on the later courses, you're going to need a good distance driver. The next game mode is Tournaments, and here you'll play multiple rounds against AI players and you receive XP and coins depending on how well you finish in the tournament. There's also 3 difficulty levels, tiers A, B and C. The final single player game mode is Practice, where you can either practice your putting or your throwing or on different courses. So you can select your course or just a random round. We can move into Target Practice, and this is a good place to learn how to throw the discs. So you'll see a target out there, you pick a disc, you aim at it, pull back and try and throw it through the green target. And then each time you get it through, you'll get extra energy, and if you miss, you'll lose energy. So you just keep going until you run out of energy and you try and get the highest score that you can. So the target mode is, as I said, good to learn how the discs fly and to practice getting the right distance and the right flight path. You can see as we pull back, you can see that the disc oscillates slightly. And this is to add a little bit of randomness to the game so that you just can't throw or repeat the same shot every single time. You can also practice your putting, and this uses a slightly different mechanic. So when you're in putt mode, and this automatically comes when you're within about 15 metres or 50 feet of the basket. And so what you do is you pull back and then push forward to throw it in the direction you want to throw it. So the speed of the forward swipe controls the power of the putt, and generally I'll want to aim slightly to the right of the pole because it will fade back towards the middle. And generally anything within 10 metres is a gimme, and if you're within 3 metres of the hole you'll see a tap it in option. So as you progress through the game you'll receive a player rating and you'll move up the divisions from recreational to advanced and finally pro. And under your stats you can see your longest drive, your longest putt, your number of aces, your eagles and your albatrosses that you've managed to grab. Moving over to the online game modes now, and you'll have the option of Daily Open, Pro Tour, Play with Friend and Multiplayer. We'll jump into a Daily Open round shortly, so let's look at the other game modes first. The Pro Tour is a weekly event where you'll play 4 rounds and you'll be competing globally with other people in your division. You'll receive XP and coins depending on where you finish in the field, and you'll also receive a Pro Tour rating as well. Now moving on to one of the more fun game modes, which is the Play with Friends. And one player can act as the host and create a group and then share the 4-character code with as many people as they like. So in this mode, the host can select the course and whether the players use their own disc collection or a set bag. Unfortunately, there's no rewards for this game mode, just bragging rights to the winner. So the group can play simultaneously with the scorecard updating as everybody finishes each hole. And this is the game mode that you might see on YouTube with players like Simon Lizotte challenging other pro players in the online mode. Now, if you don't have any friends to play around with, you can jump into a random multiplayer game with 3 other random players from around the world. Again, there's no XP or coins for this game mode, but your results do contribute to your player rating. I'm going to jump into a Daily Open game now, and in this game mode, you can compete globally with players in your division and see who can score the best on a set of 9 holes. So there's rewards of XP and coins for achieving 3 different levels. So you can play this mode as many times as you like, and if you score in the top 25, your name will appear on the daily scoreboard. This is a really good game mode to build up your XP and coins with no penalty if you're abandoning your round. So let's jump in and play a few holes and see how we go. So we've got the hole previews on here, and we've got to start with a shortish par 4. The game follows the standard rules of disc golf with OBs, hazards and mandos. And so we'll start at the first tee. We have to select our disc, so I'm going to use my recoil. And we're going to do a backhand, so we're just going to pull it straight back and give it a nice throw. And we've also got the wind to take into account, so we have to take note of what the wind's doing as well. So we've thrown our first disc and we're within 25 metres, so we can now go to using our putter. And we're just going to aim slightly to the right of the basket and thrown it straight in. So nice eagle to start off with. So moving on to the next hole. So we've got a par 5 now, and with a bit of water in the middle. So if you've got only the shorter range discs, like the putters in the mid-range when you first start out, this is a true par 5. But once you've added some good distance drivers to your bag, this is not such a hard hole. So we're going to use our Pioneer. We're going to throw a bit of flex on it and get it up there nice to the edge of the water. So we're in a pretty good spot there. 112 metre drive. We've got 102 left to go. So I'm going to use my river now. I know the river's quite good for this distance. And not quite full power. And we'll throw it in there and, yep, next to the basket. Nice 10 metre putt left to go. So the putting mechanic automatically loads up here, so we pull it back and swipe towards the basket, and in we go for another eagle. So a great start, 2 eagles for the first 2 holes. Moving on to hole 3 now, which is an island hole. And 91 metres, so again, good range for the river. There's a bit of wind from left to right we have to account for. Not quite full power on the river. And we get it in there. Almost in the water, but we're at the back now. So we can see we're behind a tree. So there's an option there to move left or right to try and get away from the obstacle. And we have to try and throw it through these bushes and hopefully throw it in. So thrown it through, and unfortunately the leaves in the tree took a bit of power off it, so we missed our putt. So short 8-metre putt to clean up and finish off with the par on the third hole. Moving on to the next one. So we've got quite a tight tunnel through here with a bit of water for the basket. So on this hole I'm going to use my river again and try and pipe it down the middle. And I'm going to use a bit of a forehand throw on this one because I know that the river is understable. So almost full power. And close to the water, we hit the tree and stayed out of the trouble. So 36 metres left to go. We'll set up, see if we can throw this in. A little bit to the right of the basket. About 2/3 power. And just missed it to the right. So moving in, we're in a bit of a bush here, so hopefully this is not going to affect the putt. Yep, no problems, in for a par. So 2 under after 4 holes and moving on to the next hole. So we've got a couple of bunkers here, so the bunkers act as hazards. If you throw into them, it's a 1-shot penalty. So it's quite long for a par 3, 151 metres. We're going to use the recoil for this shot. And on the forehand with a bit of a flex, the tree's taken a bit of power off it, but we still skip down and we're within about 20 metres of the basket. 21 metres to go, so again we can just step out to the right hand side, aiming a bit to the right, give it about 1/3 power on this. And just a bit low, so it's hit the basket and we're now within 3 metres, so it gives us the tap it in option, so we can knock it in for another par. Moving on to the next hole, and we've got a longish par 5 with some OB and a few hazards. So we've got the hole previews turned on here. Once you get used to the course, you can turn these previews off. Okay, so we're going to use the recoil, change to a forehand. We'll aim it down the left-hand side of the fairway and give it a bit of flex again. Out over the edge of the OB. And then skipping down the fairway. So not a bad throw, 143 metre forehand. Wish I could throw that in real life. So we'll do another backhand now with the recoil. It's going to fade back to the left, so we'll allow for that, stay away from the hazard. Hopefully it's not going to skip OB. No, we're okay. So we've got about 40 metres left, 55. Okay, so let's see if we can throw it in. We're going to change back to the dagger. I know the dagger can go about 55 to 60. So I'll aim a bit to the right again. About full power. Didn't allow enough fade. So we're within a few metres there. 8 metres to go and a nice tap in. So as you can see, we are pretty much a gimme within 10 metres of the hole. And again, I wish it was like that in real life. There's some different weather effects in this game as well. So you'll be playing sometimes at night, sometimes in the rain. And this one's a nice little uphill, tricky one with the basket in amongst the trees. So let's grab our river, which is selected automatically based on distance. And we know the river's going to have a bit of understability, so it should pull up to the right there nicely. And skips up there, a little bit to the left of the basket, and hopefully we've got a clear run. And no, unfortunately there's a limb in the way, so we'll try and move out and see if we can bounce it in. So have a bit of a putt, and trees in the road, so we've missed it. But we can do a tap in for par. So not doing great on this round. Hopefully we'll make it to level 1. So moving on to the next hole, which is a par 3, 112 metres. For this one, I know my Explorer is going to work quite well. It's got a bit of fade on it at the end. So a little bit of hyzer on it, give it a flick out there, and hopefully it'll skip up there nicely. Okay, we're a little bit short, but we're within putting distance. 14 meters, which is sort of getting into the max range of putting. And this is where the putting mechanic gets let down on the PC. It's a little bit harder. I find it easier to swipe the direction on the tablet or a phone. So stuff that one up based on the mechanics, but can't win them all. Just like real life. Moving on to the last hole. A long one through this tight gap. And we're going to see if we can get it through there. So it's a par 4. Let's see if we can get it up there. Our recoil can make that distance. So if we can get the line right, we can make it through for a putt for an eagle. So a little bit of flex on it. Oh, it's hit the tree. Is it going to skip through? Oh, we're a little bit short, but we still might be able to throw it in. So aiming up to the right again. And we're a little bit short. So we'll finish up the 9 holes. And you can see some of these holes may even look familiar to you. They are similar courses. They are based on holes that the programmer has in Sweden. So you may have seen some of these similar holes before. So we finished up our round, and it's a pretty ordinary 27, so 6 under. And that gives us the first collection, and if we could have done a little bit better, we might have got some more XP. So that's Disc Golf Valley, a game that can be enjoyed by just about anybody. The app has really developed over the past 6 months with some new courses, new game modes, more discs and more variety. I've also noticed an improvement in the game physics and the shot shaping. You will see things like rollaways, and the disc behaves very realistically. The game mechanics are pretty easy to pick up, with my 10-year-old son picking the game up in a matter of minutes, and now our whole family has fun playing multiplayer against each other. And just like real life, practice makes perfect in this game. So 1, you need to learn the courses and how to play each hole, and 2, to learn how your discs fly. So if you've never played Disc Golf Valley, jump into the App Store on your favourite mobile device, download the game and give it a whirl. But be careful though, the game can be just as addictive as the real thing. So that's it guys, hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, you know the drill. Thumbs up, comment, subscribe to Disc Golf Down Under. If you've got any Disc Golf Valley tips or tricks that you're willing to share, drop them in the comments down below. Good luck in the Valley, and I'll catch you in the next video.